Hey everybody, this is Andy Scott again with the next installment in our series of training videos for our new Medic Registry reporting interface. In this video, we're going to talk about trend graphs. In the last video, we talked about the dashboard view that comes with each quality initiative. In this video, we're going to talk about the trend graph. So in order to get to the trend graph from the dashboard view, up at the top of the screen here, you'll see some tabs that show the different views that are available. So the dashboard view is highlighted now. If we move our cursor over and click on the trend graph view, it takes us to the trend graph. So this trend graph is literally the exact same thing that's on the dashboard view, except it's bigger and takes up the whole page. There are a couple things that you can do with this that I wanted to point out. And the first thing is you can manipulate the x-axis of the graph down here at the bottom. So it comes as a default and it will basically fit the time range that you have. So at this point, you've got date range selected, February 2017 through April of 2020. So this is basically all the data that's in here. So I'm going to change this to P for P year 2021, the time frame that we talked about earlier, just so we're doing it consistently. So at the bottom here, you'll see you've got November 2020 through April 2021 and a monthly graph. So if you hover over each month, you can see that there was 1 for 1 in November, 0 for 1 in December, 1 for 3 in January, and so on and so forth. If you say you want to look at your time frame in a different cut, you can hover over or click on the actual x-axis itself, and you'll see there's a plus and a minus here. So in order to zoom in, hit the plus. It says drill down. In my mind, I think it's zoom in, but kind of the same thing. And so now instead of month by month, it gives you day by day. And since there's not a lot of data in here, some days don't have data. There are no cases on some days, so that's why it's not literally every single day. So now it shows you a day by day. Click again. You can actually zoom in even more to just get an even tighter view of the data. And then to go back out, that's as far as you can go in. To drill up or to zoom out, hit the minus, and then hit the minus again, and you'll get to where we started, which was a month by month view. If you want to go even further out, you can zoom out again or drill up again, and now you get quarters. So you get the fourth quarter of 2020, first quarter of 2021, second quarter of 2021. And again, hover over each one and you can see what the numerator and denominator is for each time period. And I think you can drill out one more view to just year, so year by year. So since our time range is November of 2020 through April of 2021, we have some data points in 2020 and we've got some data points in 2021. Okay, so now that you've kind of played with the time base and you've got it out to year by year, maybe you just want it to go back to what it was like before. You don't like your view. So one thing you can do is you can hit the plus sign to get it back to quarters, hit the plus sign, and now I've got it back to month by month, which is where we started with. There is another thing you can do though. So I'm going to hit minus twice again to get back out to the year by year. And one thing you can do is go up to the top here where it says View Original. Click on that. Now you could either save this view, or if you just say, you know what, I've been playing around with this stuff, I don't know what I did, just get me back to where I started. Double click on View Original. It'll think a minute, and now it's got you back to where you were. So it actually does set that date range back to where the default was. So I'm going to choose P for P year and go back to 2021, just so I'm keeping it consistent between these videos. But that's always a good, if you feel like you've messed it up, you've done too much customization, you don't like what you see, you just want to go back to how it started, right up here at the top, View Original, and go back to the original choice. The other thing you can do with the axis is to click on the axis itself and then click these little dots and it says View Data, and this is going to let you export the actual data that's showing up in the graph. So if you click on this, you see a View Data pop-up pops up, and it shows you, all the categories on your x-axis, the months, November, December, January, February, March, April, numerator, denominator for each one, and your diagnostic yield is kind of a simple calculation. You can also download this as a text file if you want. There are more kind of elaborate and useful ways to download the data, and we will talk about that in a different video. But if you just kind of wanted to see the numbers themselves all in one place, you can click on that. And that is also dynamic. So if we click on here and say we drill out, so now we're only looking at quarters instead of months, click on the axis again, hit the little lines. Now we see that it brings up our data in quarters, numerators, denominators per quarter, not per month. And you can do the same thing on the y-axis. So if you click on the y-axis, you get the little dash this thing, you bring up the data, same thing. At this point, you cannot manipulate the y-axis as far as, like zooming in to 0 through 15 or something like that. This kind of just fits the data automatically fits the data based on what it's showing. So just something to keep in mind, that you cannot change the y-axis, but you can click on the y-axis to actually get the exported data. So the final thing I wanted to point out on this graph is that we are able to insert the P for P target. So when it comes to PE diagnostic yield, our target for this year, for the 2021 P for P year, is greater than 9.9%. So this is just a little feature to add onto the graph to help you know where do you stand compared to the actual target that we're shooting for to meet your P for P goals. And that will adjust over the years as we change the target. If we change the actual target, we'll change how it appears on the graph. And then again, as a final reminder, this is a dynamic graph. So like we talked about in the dashboard video, anything you change over here on your filters. So again, let's say we only want to look at cases where D-dimer was performed. Click over there, it updates our graph and gives us different data. And if you were to export that, you would get different exported data. And that's really all there is for the trends graph site. This is kind of a quick look at how you're doing. You can filter it, you can adjust the time base, and you can do kind of a simple export of the data. In another video, I'll go into a bigger explanation of how you actually export data into Excel or a different type of format.